The one thing men want more than sex and why it's so hard for women to give. We've all heard the phrase, all men want is sex. When I was 17, I believed it. At 37, I started questioning it. Now that I'm 73, I know it's not true. Don't get me wrong, sex is meaningful and wonderful at every stage of life. But there's something even more important to men than sex. And ironically, it's something that's often hard for women to give, not because they're selfish, but because of deep, often subconscious conditioning. Let's talk about it, honestly. What do men really want? Yes, men enjoy sex. But it's not just about pleasure or desire, it's about something deeper. Underneath the craving for sex is a deeper yearning, a need for emotional safety, comfort, and connection. In other words, what many men want even more than sex is a safe harbor, a place where they can let go of the pressure to perform, compete, or prove themselves, a space where they can simply be. This realization didn't come to me overnight. It was shaped through decades of deep conversations in my men's group, a circle of 6 men I've been meeting with for nearly 40 years. We've shared our triumphs, failures, insecurities, and fears. And if there's one truth we've uncovered, it's this: men don't just want sex. They want to be seen, accepted, and embraced for who they truly are. The mask of manliness. From a young age, boys are taught that to be a real man, they must want sex all the time. In high school, I remember overhearing a girl say, "He didn't come on to me like the other guys, he's not very manly." The message was clear. Masculinity equals sexual pursuit. Sensitivity equals weakness. So men learn to use sex as their only acceptable gateway to emotional connection. It becomes the one manly way to ask for love. Not because that's all they want, but because it feels safer than asking to be held, cared for, or emotionally seen. Why women struggle to give what men truly crave? Here's the paradox: the safe harbor men long for is often the very thing women find hard to offer. Why? 1. Cultural conditioning. Women are also conditioned to believe that if a man doesn't want sex, there must be something wrong. Am I not attractive enough? 2. Mothering fears. When a man asks to be nurtured or held, some women feel like they're being asked to mother another child. They think, I already have kids, I don't want another one. 3. Fear of vulnerability. Many women have experienced situations where a man's vulnerability later turned into anger, mood swings, or emotional withdrawal. So they pull back, fearing the emotional risk. What men must learn: it takes strength and self-awareness for a man to say, I don't just want sex, I want to feel safe, nurtured, and accepted. This doesn't make him weak. It makes him real, it makes him courageous. It makes him more of a man, not less. Sometimes, that safe harbor might look like laying his head in her lap and having his scalp gently rubbed, no sex involved. Just presence, just love, just being seen without having to perform. What women must understand: for a woman to offer this kind of deep emotional space, she must also grow. She must love herself enough to see a man's need for nurture as strength, not weakness. She must be confident enough to hold space without losing herself. And she must be emotionally strong enough to protect her own boundaries, especially when his vulnerability turns into fear, frustration, or shame. The reward: a love that lasts. Yes, these kinds of emotional risks are hard for both men and women. But the reward: a deeper intimacy, a richer connection. A partnership built not just on passion, but on truth. When men can admit their need to be vulnerable, and when women can open to that vulnerability without fear, that's where real love begins.